Hey, my future ESL teachers, welcome back to part two of the series. Here we're going to be looking at mastering your online ESL application process. All right, so this is going to be maybe a little heavy, maybe not so much, but if, as I said, this is whether you are new or if you have already been teaching and you want to find a different job or a different company, then these are the steps that I would recommend that you take in order to, you know, make the right choice as it is that you go through this application process. All right. All right. So the first thing, let's dive right in. I think I said this in the video before. That is to research. Research, research, research. Find out the companies that are out there. Again, thousands, hundreds of thousands, so many ESL companies, right? But which one do you go for? So these are the things now. In researching, I can't tell you what you want, right? You know what you're looking for. But some of the things I would say or I would recommend when you are looking is look for things that will meet what you're looking for. For example, in terms of flexibility. If you guys know, for me, I'm a mom. So for me, I kind of try to work my hours around, like, for example, taking my daughter to school, picking her up, when to make dinner, when do I cut off, like, I can change a class like within a day or within hours. Like, just that flexibility is important for me as a mom. But for you, maybe flexibility isn't a big deal. Maybe you want something that's solid and you treat it like a 9 to 5. Like, it's really your option in terms of that part, right? But that's something you could look out for. You could also look at payment in terms of how the companies would pay you, right? And what you're looking for. Again, some companies will pay you once a month, some will pay twice within 1 month, like a fortnight, every 2 weeks. So it really depends on some of them. If it's like a marketplace, you draw when you want to, right? So there are different ways. So again, you have to look for what you're looking for. Also, you look at how they pay. For example, do they pay through PayPal? Will they pay through like an American card, or if they will pay through Payoneer? I'll link Payoneer below. That's a pretty popular one to pay through because it's international, so it works. So I'll link that below. There's also like Stripe. There are different payment strategies, but some companies are specific to one type of payment. Some do wire transfers. Like, again, it's dependent on what you're looking for. So choose like a payment platform. I'll put another link below with like some recommended ones that you could look into. But that's that. Even to set up something like Payoneer, it's not so challenging. It's not so hard. It's something that's quick to do, and most companies accept it. Majority that I know of, they will accept Payoneer cards. As I said, I'm from Jamaica, so for me, I needed an international, card, because, or I could have gotten wire transfer. But it depends on, again, the company, right? So yeah, so this video is actually for anyone, but also some additional information for people in, the island or in Caribbean countries who want to also start teaching English. But there are little differences. As I said, not many companies will hire us with the accent and things like that. So that's a whole nother situation. But at the end of the day, this information applies to everyone who wants to start teaching. You could use any of those systems to get payment, right? But again, this is based on your research. The next thing that you want to look at is your demography, right? Like, what age do you want to teach? Remember in the last video, if you didn't see it yet, you could go and check it out, right? The first video where we spoke about just getting started, getting certified. But if you guys remember, I told you about, like, you could have adults and you could have kids. And teaching kids is a lot more energy. So you could choose if you want that. Teaching adults is a little bit more chill, more relaxed kind of setting. So, what are you looking for? For me, I love teaching both, right? Especially like if you have like little 2 year olds or 3 year olds, it's like the cutest thing ever to teach them. It's kind of hard sometimes too, because to keep them focused is pretty hard. But it's still fun, you know? So yeah, either one were. And then the adults are also like so fun. You talk about different things. So it really depends on what you prefer. Take your pick, right? So those are some of the things that you want to look for with a company. And then most importantly, the salary. How much is the company paying you? I won't name any companies, right? But I remember when I just started and I applied to a company. And because I'm from, well, I would say it's because I'm from Jamaica, but I don't know if that's why, but I did that interview and they offered to pay me $1 per hour. $1 per hour. Needless to say, I never signed that contract. But what I did notice though is a lot of companies will say that as a Jamaican, I'm non native and things like that. But in all honesty, I realize that accents differ based on students. For me, I've heard students say I sound British, I've heard that I sound American, I've heard that I sound neutral, but I've heard that I am very understandable. I'm clear. But as I said, I've had interviews with people who can't even speak English properly. And because I am non-native, because I'm from, Jamaica, then what usually happens is the salary changes. So on average, if you live in a certain place, the salary is one thing, but if you live somewhere else, the salary is different. And if you're non-native, the salary is usually lower, right? But then also a dollar is a dollar wherever you're from. So again, you have to do your research, see which ones make sense for you and the lifestyle you have, the lifestyle you want to have. So kind of just bundle all of that together in making your decision as to which company to apply for. So that's step one in the application process. Step two, your resume. I don't remember if I said this before, but for your resume, guys, to be honest, like you don't have to have like a heavy load of experience, right? For my experience, I had done community service. I taught some basic school kids for like a few months, and it wasn't anything heavy. It was like ABC, 1, 2, 3, right? But I put that on my resume because at the end of the day, it counts. So even if you tutored your neighbor for 2 hours, fancy it up. Say, okay, so I tutored my neighbor with whatever language, and just make it sound appealing on the resume. So as I said, it doesn't have to be heavy experience, but you do want to have some level of experience. But as I said, if it's any teaching ability at all, add it. So it doesn't have to be, oh, you worked here for 10 years and you did this for 3. My resume had like my prior like job, which was customer service. So of course, not much English was there, but then I spoke about my communication skills, being able to communicate with the customers effectively. So you just want to make sure that in doing your resume, make it come off as you being, professional, clear, understandable, helpful, all of that. Good. So that is my second recommendation. If it is that you have a problem with the resume part, you could check out resume.io or resume.io. I'll link them below also. They could also help you with creating that resume. Or as I said, if you want help with like step by step process, then you could, book a consultation with me and we could go through, all the areas, all the steps to prepare you for that interview. Or I could bring you through the whole step Your choice. Good. Now, the third thing you want to do is not just for the resume, but you want to have a attention grabbing like cover letter, right? You want to make sure that you have a cover letter that will bring attention to them, the recruiters. You want them to look and say, oh, this person is really passionate about teaching and they really want to do it, so let me consider them, let me look at the resume in details, right? So you want that to be appealing. Now, this you could definitely look for the link below. I don't want to include this in this video because I want you to have like the full example, like literally an example. But another process, step 4 in the application process, is a good introductory video. Not all companies, but most companies now require an introduction video where you talk about yourself for a few minutes. Some will ask you to like upload it on like YouTube or Drive and send them the link. Some will ask you to record it in the moment of doing the application process, but most of them require the same kind of information. So you could have one general video that you use for all applications, or you could personalize them depending on, again, most want the same thing, but a few might ask for something different or different details. For example, some might ask you to not include your last name because it will be public, or some might ask you to talk about your experience. Some might not, right? But it really depends on what they ask for. But a general introductory video is always good to have. I actually have one, but it's unlisted. And I was using it from like 2000 from I started like my first YouTube channel. But I want to do a more updated one, which I will put the link below, and you could go ahead and watch that to see what an introductory video is like. Good. Just know that that is your time to shine. It's your time to say, hey, you better come hire me because I am perfect for the job. Like my daughter is there laughing at me because I'm doing all these things. But yes, that's where you sell yourself to the recruiter to say, yes, I'm the one for the job. Good. You have to like smile, you have to be pleasant, you talk about yourself, where you're from, your hobbies, your experience, why you want to teach, things like that. It's usually like a minute or 2 minutes. I've never seen any longer than 2 minutes, right? But that's it. So you have to have a very good introductory video, right? Throughout the application process, this is a separate video, which I'll do also. They might ask you for a demo lesson video, which I'll talk about in part 3, which is the interview itself. All right. And then the next thing that you want to do, this is like an additional secret tip, right? That you could maybe, is make sure as you're going through the application process is be responsive. Like if they send you an email today, try and answer as soon as possible. Don't put it off too long, right? Be very like present. As soon as you get an email, respond. Good. Some of them have like a time limit when they're looking for a response. So that's also important. And then the last thing, and this depends on if you are working free, if you're freelancing or if you are working with a company, you could use social media to kind of leverage your application, right? Use things like LinkedIn, which is very professional, so you can showcase your skills there, your professionalism, all of that. Facebook is also okay to use. Twitter, connect with other ESL teachers, see how their pages are, what they are doing, right? For me personally, if you guys check it out, it's at JA English Coach. That's my ESL page on Instagram. It's where I find like ESL students because I freelance, but I also work with a company, right? So again, it's really dependent on what you want, what you're looking for, and you can find it. All right. So I hope this video wasn't too long for you, but I definitely hope it was helpful. So what you could do is, of course, thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all of those things. You could come say hi on Instagram, Fun with Mons, new page, new lifestyle. All of these things are exciting. All right, guys.